Associates. Welcome to the Gains Associate YouTube channel where we are live streaming our AMAs with just the best projects that cryptocurrency has to offer. We just want to welcome everybody here and thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on the Telegram channel or the YouTube, just really excited to have you guys here. My name is Aaron. I'm just a huge fan of Gains Associates. I'm a holder. As well, along with every one of you guys, and just someone who is just excited about cryptocurrency and getting into some of the best projects and getting into AMAs. And if you don't know, there are a whole bunch of people out there who just shill random projects and content and all kinds of stuff. And you and I know, as investors in this space, we want to get into the brains, the minds behind every project. We don't want to just mindlessly shill. We don't want to carelessly throw our money into different places. No, we want to ask the critical questions. We want to hear from the horse's mouth into our ears. What is it? What does it makes your project so special? If you're new to this channel, I want you to go ahead and hit subscribe, give us a like button on this video if you find this content interesting, and check out Gains-Associates. Check out the website. All the links will probably be in the description down below or somewhere around here. So to help you get you started on your way, especially in this kind of market where it's kind of all kinds of volatility. We're so excited to talk to only the best projects out here. So we have the co-founder, law keeper, CEO of ApeironNFT. His name is Frank, and I'm going to bring him on the channel. Frank, welcome to the channel here.
Hi, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
Glad
nice
to have
meet you.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Really quick, just for someone like me, I want to know your origin story, as it were, your quick synopsis of who are you, Frank, and where you come from. Like, what's your background coming into the crypto industry, and then we could get into Aperon.
Great. Well, just a quick intro. I'm from Hong Kong, and I grew up in Hong Kong. I studied in the States. I worked in the States for a little bit in a management consulting firm, and I went back to Hong Kong to work in a private equity fund for almost 6 to 7 years. But then, 6 years ago, I found my own company. I wanted to create my own game, so I went around Asia, tried to find a good team of developers to try and create something truly original, and that's Aperon. We developed Aperon since 2016, went through multiple prototypes to arrive with what we have today, and we ventured into crypto only last year when our co-founder pushed for a second time to change the game to blockchain, which fits a lot better with the scope, the ideas, and the plan to ultimately turn it into a franchise. So we entered crypto. I studied crypto then, went into a lot of DeFi projects, but also a lot of NFT gaming. And we found crypto to be something to be great with which we can build Aperon upon. And it's the NFTs and player ownership is actually something definitely worth exploring and have huge potential that can change a lot of gameplay and social dynamics. And so we remodeled Aperon from a mobile game into a blockchain game, incorporating 2 new elements into the gameplay to have what we have today.
Gotcha.
Very excited.
So you have a lot of history on a global scale, like you study in the United States, and you've got a background in like all this kind of tech and business, and so you're bringing that to you have Aperon as a already developed game, and then you're bringing that onto blockchain gaming. Is that about right?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. And so tell me about the broad strokes about Aperon. If you could just kind of simplify it for like my lizard brain, you know what I mean, in just a few sentences, and then we could expand on that.
Well, sure. To put it very simply, Aperon lets you play God. You manage your own planets, and you'll be summoning rainstorms, fireballs, tornadoes, and earthquakes to shape your world and your civilizations, converting followers here and there, and they'll build giant statues, buildings in your name. The more impressive your planet and your followers, the more powerful the creature that grows together with your planet is. You'll be bringing this powerful creature that will grow more and more giant into epic battlegrounds across a galactic universe. But as for how it exactly works, Aaron, do you mind if I share some slides?
Please, yeah, let me pull that up.
Yeah.
But real quick, so you're this giant monster in control of a world, and you can make things happen like storms, and then it starts to they start to develop followers, and then they start building statues and worshiping you. Is that about right?
Almost right, except
Okay.
for that the giant monster goes to the combat. When you manage your worlds, you'll be in your avatar form. You'll be in your profile picture form.
Ah,
So yeah, you,
that's awesome. Let me bring us up here. There we go. How's that?
yeah, cool. Let me take a look. Open it up. So yeah, one of the main themes of the game is alignment. Well, being a god, you will have the choice to be a good god or an evil god. Every action you perform on any planets, the planets are all populated by these yellow chubby creatures we call dudes. The dudes are pretty dumb, but also very creative. So you can treat them nice all the time, and your heaven and your world will become more heavenly. Or you can throw fireballs at them every day and just slap them around. They will worship you and grow, no matter what. But yeah, your world will become more evil. The entire game revolves around the idea of good versus evil. But to get into more how the game works, you need one planet, and that's all you need to play the game. One planet NFT consists of two things: the planet itself, where the God Game simulation takes place, and a creature that grows together with this planet. Um, the planet simulation and the battle are the two core components of Aperon. These have been in development for quite some time, so if you go to our YouTube page, you can see the gameplay revolving the God Game simulation and the battle. As I said, how you shape your planets will affect what your creature and your armies will be like. Their stats, their HP, strength, and skills are all determined by how you treat your followers, what they build for you, and how impressive you grow your planet. But Aperon has multiple sides to it. This simulation and battle is only the beginning of your journey in Aperon. Ultimately, you will travel to a universe with multiple galaxies, and you'll be participating in Grand Alliance events. Each galaxy in the Aperon universe is a giant expansion pack centered around a different mythology, and they will have world bosses, dungeon raids, clan wars, esports tournaments, all of which the players will be encouraged to participate as a team and or as an alliance or guild. In order to join an alliance or a guild, you need to orbit your planets around the stars and suns of universe. These are the lands of Aperon, which is about to be sold and minted. The upcoming land sale, a very limited land sale, is going to sell these stars. And these stars and suns will join to form constellations, and constellations will populate the entire game map. So for the blockchain, we incorporated two new elements into it: the reset mechanism and the breeding mechanism. I won't go into details here because it would be a really long presentation. I'm notorious for doing super long presentations to my investors, so I'll save you guys the trouble, and I'll skip these detailed parts.
These look
I'll go
awesome.
for well, yeah, I'll go for some of the more core ideas of Aperon. That's the tokens, of course. Some of the many games out there have one or two tokens. We think it's great, but for Aperon, for the size of Aperon and the sheer scope we're going for, we think being a living economy, merging NFT ownership and real world users and investors into an economy, we think one or two tokens is easy to understand but hard to control or sustained in the long run. When it comes to user incentives, we want to introduce more choices and different ways to play and earn in the equation. So on top of the two tokens, which most games have, the governance tokens and the play to earn tokens, we introduce a third token called regularity. It is focused on social dynamics, alliance gameplay, and really hardcore content. To put it simply, there's the single player, the easier play to earn token, Anima, but there's the super hardcore Angularity that only can be obtained via the toughest competitions or the toughest content in the game. Also, of course, both the gameplay and from an investor's perspective, they will need all three tokens in order to earn efficiently. Therefore, the social dynamics. And this is how the whole ecosystem works. Well, half of it. So to put it, I'll try to summarize it up. You'll be playing on your planet NFTs in order to create equipment. In order to create NFTs, you need the governance token. In order to enhance your NFTs, you need the Playthrough token. In order to create planets, the core function of your planets, in order to breed and give birth to new planets, you need both the playthrough and the governance tokens. As for the third token, that's related with alliance gameplay. Only when you've successfully enhanced your planets and created it and put gear onto it, will it be able to participate in the alliance combat, well, efficiently, so to speak. The third token, with which you get, will be used to unlock new content and new rewards, or even unlock the best, staking and earning systems in Aperon. And this whole system functions like, physical gaming cards, where players will enter a new season trying to enhance their decks to compete in the tournaments. Ultimately, when they get the third token, they'll unlock the new season, which is very limited. Once they do, they can trigger a whole new season of planet creation and breeding. And this is a loop that constantly creates and enhances NFTs. Of course, the creation of the NFTs is extremely limited because we do have a lot of sinks and recycle mechanisms in the system to ensure that the supply and demand of both the tokens and the planets can be in control and in a balance that favors the token and the NFT prices. The last part of the ecosystem I'll talk about is how we formed the economic model. In the early backbone, we worked with lots of gaming guilds. We think gaming guilds is the ideal free-to-play portals into many Web3 and Web2 games. Of course, a lot of them may only be there trying to extract resources, but the gaming guilds we partner with, we are very bullish on them because they have a different roadmap. They are great universities, mentorship programs that don't just educate users in terms of playthrough and gaming. They are great metaverse platforms, schools. They are win-to-earn oriented teams. They are great gamers themselves. They have different paths with which we take. Some are node farmers, some are game designers, some are programmers, and they are all very enthusiastic gamers spread around the world in key markets that we want to go to. So, in a way, they are the new publishers of Web3, while we will focus on working on Aperon, turning into multiple aspects beyond the game, from gaming operations to merchandise, casual games, physical game cards, and in the future, animations and movies and comics, which, will help us turn the new users, the grinders and scholars, into what we hope to be regulars who are more willing to invest in the economy. But of course, ultimately, we drive a lot of competition. The battle of Aperon is extremely competitive and esports oriented. Will stream heavily and promote seasonal and cyclical competition to pit all these gamers and guilds against each other in really exciting events. And
Awesome.
yeah, and that's pretty much almost how everything works. But if you guys
Yeah.
want to know more, feel free to hop into our Discord communities, and I'm sure you'll find a lot of material for you to read up on to find out how it all works. But let's
Fantastic.
talk about other stuff. Yep.
I have a few quick questions, and then I want to get to the
Yeah.
chat. Chat, thank you so much, all the associates. Thanks so much for joining us today. Really quick, I'm looking at a multi-token system, and you're looking for the play to earn token to go to try to enhance. And you got the governance, then you have the staking and earning. So at least 3 different tokens here, and there's multiple ways to make more tokens, right? Breeding, creation, rewards, as it said here, the general gameplay, PvE, PvP, guild wars, and alliance battles, and all this kind of stuff. I'd like to take it all the way back to some of these questions here. I would like to ask. So let me bring it up on the screen here. Hey Frank, I'd like to ask if the sun is an NFT. If your own stars don't have sun slots, how do we maximum utilize the sun?
Okay, so the NFTs, all of them have sun slots, well, except for one or two. But those are so powerful that they don't actually need them. But for the other ones, so for the coming up whitelist and for our Nebula expedition, which is our NFT staking, you can actually obtain stellar tabular chests. Each chest contains a star, but also a bunch of these cosmetics. Some of the cosmetics will be a sun. The sun is where you can obtain. Is where it comes from. So every player, when they mint, they don't just mint the sun. They actually mint the chest. The chest opens up into one star and multiple cosmetics. The better the chest, the better the chances of you get a higher level cosmetic. The cosmetics, well, they each have their own function. The suns enhances the aging process of all your stars, of all your planets that orbit around them. Sorry. So to boggle your mind a little bit, all planets age in Aperon. The older your planet is, the more equipment you can install onto them. To significantly enhance the aging process, well, you need to orbit your planets around the suns and stars, or you can directly consume another planet. But yes, this aging speed up, we call it, is affected by the suns. So each star has some sun slots, and you can fit them with all the better suns you can find on the marketplace or from the chests. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's
So
pretty
so
much it.
I'm now discovering why you said kind of when I was trying to describe what you just told me. It seems like Apeiron is a much deeper game with a lot of very deep gameplay mechanics. Roberto Barreto says it seems to me that Apeiron has a lot of potential as an NFT project. Could be a great play to earn. It's looking that way. It's looking that way. Gamer Boss Family says I've reviewed the white paper and saw that you can only have 3 planets from breeding, and you can fuse the planets to make them stronger. As the game gets very popular, do you worry about NFT shortage?
Well, actually, we don't, because one of our philosophies in Aperon is that we want to be positioned as a premium paid app while focusing on win to earned and team earned. What I mean is, a lot of games out there focus on free to play and play to earn strategies to ensure that they can adopt and accumulate players from afar. But we think actually it's more reasonable to price NFTs at a premium and continually allow the price of the NFTs to grow together with player input and player dedication. Because if you take a look back into the nature of NFTs and what gave rise to the popularity of Axes, is actually when the Axes were priced at 100 to 200 US dollars a piece, and to play a game you need almost $600 to begin. This barrier of entry actually created, well, gaming guilds in the first place, and the whole idea of play to earn. The play to earn actually comes from the growing and selling of these Axes, and we want to recreate that. How we do that is, well, the pricing should be controlled and on a steady incline. And to maintain this, we have to make sure that demand is more than supply. Of course, we have multiple methods to increase supply. The breeding itself is actually already very powerful, but we will control it with the items that must be used for breeding. And we will also be working a lot of gaming guilds. When there's a mass adoption that needs to be, we can send out seed planets, free to play planets to gaming guilds and players to experience the game. But yes, ultimately, we want our planets actually to be priced decent. So the players who invested in the planets, who bought into the planets, will continue to find ways to enhance the value of the planet, ultimately breeding new ones to trade them, rent them, or well, yeah, sell them.
Got it. So yeah, so I thought that particularly the seed one, the free to play planets, I thought that was real, very interesting for me to really have an open door into the game. So that's very interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
well,
Gary Sufandi asks, I'm not sure what this is, so you're gonna have to educate me here. What can we do with with a Funi emblem? Not sure what that is, so maybe help me understand what that Funi emblem is, and maybe someone else in the chat, and then what can we do with it?
sure. Food emblem is usually what we give away in AMAs and everything. We used to give away a lot of USDC, but we found out that people just tend to grab the money and go. And so we came up with these food emblems. They're actually tickets. You can sell them as well. But collect enough food emblems, you can exchange other NFTs in our ecosystem. You can exchange them for the planets themselves. You don't have to pay. You just have to participate in the AMAs and the many games and activities we host each week. And well, or if you can collect enough, you can directly exchange for free, or you can just buy a few more food emblems, and you can actually get a planet at a very, very discounted cost. Besides
Uh,
the planets, you can also get apostles, you can get plushie dolls, you can get shirts, and
cool.
other items. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good way to engage the community and not kind of lose out, but really build the community instead of just kind of deal with these scammers or whatever these leechy guys. So and there, if you want to get a Fumi emblem, just make sure that you check out their AMAs regularly, and so that we could in the future we could play this game to more effectively. Chamad asks, what partnerships do you currently have? What qualities do you seek in a relationship? Which initiatives or groups are you already connected to?
okay. This is a pretty old slide back when we finished our seed round. Um, So, the partners we partner with, we have 24 gaming guilds. Six of them are pretty large gaming guilds. And then we have some of the best Web3 funds who invested in here. You can find them in the slide, for example. But the more interesting partners, especially the partners that fit our roadmap, would be um, Singh here, who's the owner of MTG Vanguard and Saka Saka. We have Go Lucky, who's from Taiwan. They are a toy manufacturer, and we have some streamers, esports teams, and AAA developers and publishers that invest in a private round. What I mean is, Aperon's roadmap actually only begins in Web3. Next year, we're fully focused on esports, hosting tournaments both online and physical, and then we'll be manufacturing our merchandise, uh, casual games, physical gaming cards, and then we'll also move towards animation and comics, uh, probably towards the end of next year, turning Aperon into a franchise. In every step of this roadmap, in the beginning, we have the Web3 crowds, but for next year, we have the esports teams, we have the streaming platforms, and we have a main fund in Korea who was very tied with the ecosystem of Korea that, well, as we all know, the pop culture, the esports, the gaming, and the movies and animation is really making their scene across the world, and it lays the foundations for which we can build the franchise on, or at least teach us that. And
Gotcha.
then for the other games, we have physical gaming cards. The owner of MTG Min Card and Saka Saka is the biggest Asia's biggest physical gaming card community distributor and tournament hoster. We have we have Blizzard and Witches game toy manufacturer who invested in us. And then some of the ones in the esports team, esports and in the Twitch streaming platform founders, co-founders, head of talents. I won't name them because they invested in a personal capacity. And then we have pretty much in every step of the way, we have investors that can help us, guide us in that direction.
Gotcha.
Um,
So you've got a goal to become to go to a franchise model, and there's so many of these parts that you need integrated with that. So every step of the way, you're establishing these are the qualities you're looking for in relationships. It's to see if you're bringing in people to who could get you to that next step.
Yeah.
for along the road. So that's great. Good to hear. Uh, Academia de Play to Earn asks, so if it's not a burn system of planets, I can reset my planet and keep playing. What is the benefit of it?
Actually, there's also a burn system on the planets because you have to consume another planet to age your planets. But to talk about the reset mechanism, the reset is there to promote perpetuality of gameplay. It's modeled after roguelike games in the way that every time you reset, all the challenges and the quests will be different. And so each playthrough feels new. Of course, during this reset, you'll be sacrificing everything you've done so far. And what you get in return are play to earn tokens, the opportunity to create NFTs, which is preserving some of the assets that you obtained and turning them into NFTs, saving them, like so you can use it in the next cycle, or you can sell in the marketplace to help others jumpstart their play cycles. And finally, you can also level up your account. So players will go through a cycle where they learn to play the game. They'll reset their planets once they hit the plateau, and then they'll grow a little more powerful each time until they get the hang of it, and then they can play really long cycles where they learn how to create the best gear or go into deepest parts of the dungeons to grind and to earn the best rewards. But of course, in the late game, you won't be resetting your planets much because you'll be fine tuning your stats to participate in a giant guild wars or esports contents.
Got it. Awesome. Yeah, I really like the deep level dungeoning and fine tuning is something that I like to do in a lot of games, and so looking forward to it in this one. Uh, let's see. Fu asks, I read that Aperon map consists of 11,498 stars. Will this number increase as the game evolves? Also, is there a limit on the number of stars a player can have? Great question.
Mm, nope, 11,498 stars is all there's going to be. It's actually one zero less than on a lot of lands out there in other games. So our stars, we treat them with much more care and rarity compared to others. And what's the last part of the question?
Is there a limit to how many stars? I think that
Oh,
yeah,
nope.
yeah,
You can
no,
actually own multiple stars. It's perfectly fine. But of course, for the mint, it will be limited in the beginning. I think only one or two per wallet. But once the public mint phase begins, I think everyone can mint as many stars as they want.
Gotcha. I'm trying to have a whole cowboy hat constellation, so that's what I'm going to be going for. Gamer Boss Family, another one. Thanks so much for the question here. I reviewed the white paper and noticed only 3 times you could fuse planets to make them age faster. As the game gets popular, do you worry about NFT planet shortage?
Hmm. Actually, we don't because the planet's main supply is by breeding, and we we actually well, one second. Let me go back to the breeding one. Nope. And we we want to monitor the breeding, as we said, heavily. And having a shortage means the demand is great. But of course, we'll be careful with it. So if there is really a case where there's a sudden spike of demand and we cannot give out the mini black holes fast enough, the mini black holes are the items needed to breed, then we will send out the seed planets, the free to play planets to onboard users earlier and on a massive scale. And but yes, we think we're pretty good on the balance side so far. I mean, even in these markets, we actually slowed down the breeding by a significant pace. Of course, ultimately being a Web3 game, at least in this phase of Web3, the market has a significant impact on the sentiments and demands of NFTs. So it is in these times, especially, that we will control the breeding of the planets significantly. But we are very confident that this won't be the case in the beginning because we have found very, very loyal holders, and everyone is just waiting to breed, and none of them are really selling. So we know the time when we release the black holes, people will breed as much as they can, and there will be enough planets out there just so that the planet prices can remain at the levels we desire.
Got it. Got it. Hin asks, just maybe a quick question here. Where can we get the docs? I'm assuming the Discord, all your links, all the website, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, Hin. Hmm. He's one of our core contributors. Congrats on getting selected. And so where can we get the docs? Well, all the docs for these is either in the white paper itself or on the blog. The blog is with a Medium blog. The link is also available via our website, and you can pretty much find all information on Aperon from the white papers or from the blogs. And of course, finally, if you have extra questions, jump into Discord. Our Discord is filled with very, very dedicated and crazily fun dudes, and they will answer any questions you may have and tell you where to go to find more funny emblems and find more friends and fun.
Got it. Yeah. So, yeah, basically check out all their channels, and a helpful community doesn't help or doesn't hurt as well. Meta V asks, hello. Two questions here. How can we join the Star pre-sale? That's like one of the premier questions I want to know too. How many supply of Star, and what happened to the stars that are not minted?
Hmm. So we have a very limited sale now. It's only 6% of the total. So there's only 673 stars up there. 200 of them will be placed in the staking the mechanism that's coming out in the second week of August. That mechanism favors our asset holders because they will be staking their assets and obtaining the stars that way. The other way is to get whitelisted. To get whitelisted, please go to our Discord, take a look at the rules. It's pretty easy. There are two ways you can get listed. One, the traditional way is to participate in our events or to join our partners' events where we give out whitelists. Or the other way is to, well, buy some apostles. Apostles are the pets that you bring along in combat in the future. There's a unique set called the Origins out there right now. And if you collect enough Origins apostles, you will automatically be whitelisted or even VIP whitelisted into the mint. And the mint is supposed to take place in early September. So you still got time, but probably advise you to get a list early because we only are going to give out a very limited amount of whitelists. And once August begins, we are turning up our dormant marketing engines, and you'll see a whole bunch of KOL videos and gameplay assets, and even ultimately the game demo itself. And once that pops up, the demand for the whitelist hopefully will skyrocket.
I
So
agree with
yes,
that. I feel like once you get these KOLs, and it's like I want to play this and also be streaming this stuff, and I mean I'm just super excited. Just the artwork looks amazing. Like I mean, just it just looks like a very inviting, very high quality artwork on every level. So I really
oh, you
appreciate
should
that
see the
myself.
trailers.
Oh, I want to see that. We could see the trailers too. We could make sure we have to play those. Tanbot says this. Here's my question: can we know more about the non-NFT currency in the game? Lot in the game, lot of game have it. Lots of games have it, and I'm pretty sure that it is an important part of most economy. Oh, trying to struggle through that one.
Oh, Tenbot is also one of our core contributors. Looks like we got some people here. So the non-NFT currencies and non-tradable currencies, there's some. Those are the resources, but we are not going to display it quite blatantly. I'm still in an argument with one of our co-founders whether to put everything on screen or put it all in a more subtle manner that's can only be told via the dude's reactions. So there's the resources in the game and the planets that unlock certain buildings and that the dudes can build and how fast they can build. And then this is pretty much your miracle interactions, your alignments, and the faith level of your dudes. The faith level can be maintained by constant interaction, so that's okay. And then the other major currency that won't be shown is actually the soul gems. Every time you reset your planets, you can actually choose a good or evil way to reset them. The good way is called the Rapture, the evil is the Armageddon, where you sacrifice everyone. And so each good and evil have these gems and soul gems and special stones that helps you unlock and purchase passive skills that continues to level up your main profile picture account. So these are the main non-tradable NFT currencies. But of course, again, these will usually typically come in more full details as we approach closer to the game and the Medium articles and in our updated white papers.
Got it. Cool. Nipun asks, oh, here we go.
Oh, you're picking
Please
on my
explain.
Paul Council members.
Please explain why people are choosing your token rather than one that already exists. Exactly what are the benefits of your token that could persuade potential investors?
Hmm. Well, that would have to be looking into how we structure it. Actually, in the beginning, in every MA and everything, I always say, well, we are not a 20 times, 30 times project upon TGE. So if you want to go for an early flip or an easy flip or a quick flip, Aperon is not the project for you. Sorry. Because ultimately, we want to find people who believes in the project. We will go 20 times and 30 times, but not immediately. We think NFT and the blockchain is great, but the hype-based model is not something we are quite keen on. You see, we've spent a lot of time developing this game. Over 30 employees have spent over 6 years of their lives creating this project. And we are here to see that we're not just trying to create a game that's going to last 6 months or 1 year. We're trying to create an entire franchise on the blockchain with 6 to 8 years worth of contents, expansions, merchandise, franchising, animations, and and we want to make sure that we can stay here. So what we're going to do is that we're going to try to create an ecosystem and a token that can last as long as possible and sustain as long as possible. And for us, that means a price appreciation approach instead of a price discovery approach when it comes to our token launch, when it comes to our TGE. So yeah, we may not be as going as loud and as showy as a lot of tokens that go for a couple launch and raise over $20 million. We'll actually start pretty humble and as low and as possible, but directly on a centralized exchange. And then we'll move and market make and control liquidity ourselves to ensure that our token prices can continue to increase steadily with marketing, with the game launch, with subsequent events to maintain a constant rise in price that correctly and healthily reflects the progress of Aperon. I think this will put a lot less pressure on the community, on the game development pipeline, and also it enhances significantly the long-term return on all investments of all our long-term holders. Because if you look at all the charts out there in crypto and many games, it's a pump, stake, or even no stake and dump project. And I think that's great for the developer to maintain to get an early treasury, but I don't think that's what we are going for. So it's a different project. For me, it's a long-term investment in your play to earn or in your crypto gaming profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, different people have
Yeah.
different
The
incentives. So
I think personally, the last cycle of bull run, we saw a lot of pump and dump, a lot of hype cycles, and Apeiron is looking to establish itself as a franchise, a slow growth. Not that there's including marketing, but the value in it is being worked on meticulously over a span of 30 employees over 6 years. So I thought that was very it's a value asset of a actual
no,
franchise or gaming ecosystem, which is great.
we're at 120 now.
Wow, wow, wow. Golly. Here we go. Ready Metaverse One asks, security is a huge challenge for all blockchain projects. What measures will the team take to ensure the safety of on-chain assets?
Well, we do what most people do. We find the best auditing firms. We look at the leaderboards. We look at which ones are the best ones, and we find them to audit all our contracts. We take extra care when it comes to the auditing reports, and so yeah, we are fully audited. We have a team of blockchain developers. We have a CTO who's actually created uh, blockchain projects before. Jim is our CTO and co-founder as well. He's helped engineer the measurable data token in 2018. went through the crypto winter, and I think it's being bought out for $100 million now. And his team, with both blockchain and actually game development experience as well, is on board us right now. And other than the certic systems or the auditing firms we hire, we also have an in-house monitoring system that monitors any weird activities going on. But as I always say, no matter what we do, even if we do have an in-house reactive system and we find all the bigger tier one the audit firms, I don't think it's hack proof. I can't promise it's hack proof. But ultimately what I can promise is that we can be fair on the compensation. If a hack does occur, much like a bug occurs in any game, the first thing we as developers do is look at what exactly is loss, what is the opportunity cost, and how can we properly compensate our users and quickly stop the bugs. So you can be assured that we'll always be looking into compensations to ensure that if in the case that any hacks do happen, we will make sure our users and our asset holders will be protected and fully compensated. So
Got it.
yeah.
Got it. Internal reaction team, external audits, and then compensation process for these on-chain assets. So a lot of security here. No breku, no break you. As many projects NFTs out there fail because they produced and sold too much of their NFTs. What will Aperon do to keep floor prices of Aperon's NFTs and survive in the long term?
I think ultimately, it comes to the control of supplies and whether the developers are willing to use their treasury and their own assets to buy protect some of the floors. Well, you can take a look at my own wallet. I have always been doing that, even in the May and June. But actually, didn't really have to do that in June because the breeding went out and a lot of users came in to buy the planets to satisfy the three planets solution. So yeah, but if you ask me, the ultimate solution is well, we'll be using part of the treasury and our funding to maintain the floors. But ultimately, I think this is only like emergency solutions. I think the plan has always been to control it directly according to our own stats, to monitor the supply and demand, and to limit the breeding items, and to well control the liquidity and market making tools that we use.
Got it. Yeah, we're running low on time here, so I want to recognize some of these next questions, but some of these we've already kind of answered here. Fu asked about the or the three token system. We kind of already answered that, but and you could check out the screen for that and how they break that down. This one, what prevents hedge fund managers from investing in this asset class? I think they're already doing it in NFTs and that whole space. Shani asked
Johnny.
this though. When does Shani? When does rental system for stars become active? Thanks.
The rental system for the stars should be coming in later. I mean, players can orbit their own planets around the stars right after the mint. But in order to rent the tracks out for other players to orbit their planets around your own stars, that should come in, I think, probably Q1 in 2023.
Got it. 2003 Q1 here. Jupiter asks, for PvP, will a pure element planet more or less will always win against, say, quad or tri planets? This guy's already strategizing. If yes, won't it be like a play to win or pay to win? Sorry.
hmm Well, a pure planet, given in the right hands, probably win against a lot of quad planets, but not necessarily the tri planets. And there's always two sides of battle in Aperon. One that's in esports. In the esports side of the equation, actually all planets are fair, but I'd say still anything tri or above would be probably better. But on the pay to win side, if it's a 1v1 competition, then yes, there will be certain pay to win elements in there. But there goes the alliance gameplay. If you have played in any grand strategy or giant alliance gameplay, each planet actually have their own playstyles and stance, and it's actually in each alliance strategy how to align each type of planets and players in different positions or different roles to maximize the alliance. And alliances that are really focused on a lot of wealth and that's super outclassed actually will be fighting against the different types of alliance events. And in many events, the other guys will probably be allying themselves against these giants. So there's a lot of outgame dynamics and strategies involved to balance the game out. And but as I always say, I think there always need to be certain modes or certain pay-to-win elements in the game in order to find players who are willing to commit more resources in the economy and thus giving a more well in input or resources allocation into an economy for it to sustain. That's pretty much how a lot of free-to-play games have thrived. But yeah, if you really, really hate these play-to-win games, focus on the esports sides. That is okay as well.
Gotcha. Gotcha. This one's a question on metrics and goals here. Short-term goals in 2022, what are they? And three performance indicators would you include in your list of top metrics to count or track?
Oh, okay. Well, the short-term goal is get the game out. We're probably going to get the game out in Q4, and it's probably one of the earlier games with a higher quality, I hope, out in the blockchain. As for the three key metrics, well, the one that we're monitoring right now is trying to find more planet owners. This is partly due to, well, we told a lot of people to hold on to three planets, so everyone is holding on to three planets and growing their planet farms to ensure that they can breed more and more planets and have a huge arsenal of planets. So yeah, the planet owners numbers are increasing slower than intended, but we'll find ways to increase it in August. The other number which we will look for is, of course, the floor price of the NFTs and our tokens. Well, tokens is the price, but NFTs are the floor price to make sure that it's at a healthy level. Because for breeding games, sometimes the key metric is at least the floor price need to be 2 to 3 times of the mint price in order for the mints and the prices to be enticing or healthy.
Yeah.
And then finally, the third metric, well, it's pretty much, well, for us as the users and the number of dudes in our daddy program. It's actually our core contributor program that we run in Discord. It's quite a hobby club, I'd say, but the daddies have been a very integral part of our community, and I want to grow that into a new wave of force that can be making waves in the Web3 crowds and even beyond.
Yeah, gotcha. So yeah, that makes sense. Volume or adoption of these planets, floor price, and user base. This is great. Let's go here. Saduni asks, what are your plans on centralized exchange listing, Dex tool, PoolCoin Plus, and Dex platforms, ads, banners? I think you already mentioned that earlier. There's a market. There's different levels of marketing, different KOLs, gameplay, trailers, all that kind of stuff. I want to get to some other ones. Mark asks, for new users, this is an interesting one. Just exploring Aperon, planning to buy assets. Which NFTs should they look at purchasing? Also for planets, what are your tips on beginners in choosing planets to be purchased?
Is that Mark Lazarus?
Hmm?
Oh, it is Mark Lazarus. He's getting picked again. Oh, this is like a really lucky guy who gets picked all the time whenever there's an AMA somehow. Anyway, his question is for new users. Oh, wow! I can stop sharing my screen there. Um, well, first and foremost, it would always be the planets. I should stop the infinite loop there. Can you stop the on the screen? Yeah. Ooh, thanks. So, well, always look to the planets because one planet is all you need to play the game. But there are two different core types of planets. One is the ones with primeval exordium, and the other one is without. Primeval exordium ones, there's only 4,000 of them, and they're very unique. They give you airdrops and early access to our games and different types of benefits. So if you want to get in early and and take advantage of it, then get a primeval one. If you just want to look to play the game, you can try to get one normal planet, and that's all you need. And then um yeah, but yeah, having a planet so early right now, one of the main functions is to breed, because ultimately, what nets you most money, usually typically in a breeding game such as Axie Infinity, is actually breeding. By obtaining two, you can breed a new one and sell the new one at the original's price. Breed a few times, sell a few more, and you will recover that. This is ultimately the plan for most breeding games. So always look to purchase multiple planets uh, instead of just one. If your plan is to, well, create your own breeding farm and make more money. But of course, yeah, ultimately we want players who want to play just purchase one planet or own one planet, and that would be the price of roughly around 100 US dollars. We hope.
Gotcha. Cool. I'm gonna try to skip through. Man, the questions are flying in here. I'm not sure if you could try to riff through a lot of them, but I want to try to focus on people who I haven't picked. I know Fu, so sorry here. But how long will season one be? Asked by Soul8181.
Season 1 is going to last from Q4 to Q2, I believe, next year. And Q2 next year is when we release Season 2, which is actually a giant expansion of the Shinto, the Japanese mythology at Galaxy. And the
Q4
opening up,
of this year to Q2 of next year. Is that what? Is that
yes,
right? Okay, got it.
yes, around
Good deal.
3 quarters.
Good deal. To reach end game content in Aperon, do you need to have an alliance, right? For a solar player, is it possible for them to stay solo until end game?
You will have to be a really, really crazy player with a Pure Planet and the tier 0 or tier 1 star. That is
Mm.
possible. But
So
probably
it's incentivizing collaboration more.
we do want players to play together. All games are more fun to play
Yeah, of course,
together.
of course,
And
of course.
yeah,
Can you list 1 to 3 features, killer features of the project, makes it ahead of your competitors? I feel like we talked a lot about that. I would say like the in-depth gaming of the 3 token system. I mean the art, the community, the roadmap. I mean, there's a lot of these features here that we can go back
Aaron,
and
you can do AMAs for us now.
well, I'm in it. I love this thing. I mean, this gameplay. There's even the psychology of someone who'd be interested in like developing this world. There's a lot of different aspects. There's the streaming. There's the esports. There's a whole bunch of this stuff. So this is really interesting. Umesh, a new name here. The tokens are burned if they are utilized or traded, as you also mentioned in create a white paper. Is this true?
Tokens are burned if they're utilized. It depends on the tokens. The governance tokens are usually recycled, of course, while the anima token is always burned, the playground token. And regularity, the third token, some of it will be burned and some of it will be recycled. It depends on which um, system you're utilizing them in. But yeah, that's pretty much how the three will
I'm
work.
just gonna recognize this question, but I think we've answered this also. What are you gonna do to build your community? And you've said like there's a rolled out marketing phase. Then you have your Discord members and your community is already strong and they're already generating, helping each other out and all that kind of stuff. And phase tiered plan. So I think that's already been answered. I think this is an interesting question though in the development of the game. Can you give us more on the beta phase and who are able to join beta when released?
Not the beta, we're looking to release it next month. And for the testers, well, most of our investors will be playing it next month and will be looking to stream the content next month. But ultimately, the players should be able to play the primeval planet owners will be able to get their hands on the planets either in late August or September. And the information regarding this beta actually, some of them are in the Medium articles that we talk about, but a bulk of the assets and the previews will be in August. The next week, we'll be beginning to showcase a lot of game assets and gameplay videos leading up to the game demo streaming, and then we'll be just showing it around and letting other people play it.
Got it. Dilshan asked this. I think you just answered that this next week. He's saying, what are your most important next priorities? You just said you're going to reveal some of the game assets, then beta testing, then the launch of the game. I think that's what we've been talking about. Is that about right, Frank?
No, that's almost right. The next priorities is pretty much the game demo and the star sales.
Yeah. Oh, and the star sales. That's right. This one's an interesting one. Jamil says it's NFTs have become a Ponzi scheme. Could you tell us the benefits of ApeironNFT over existing NFT projects in the space? Maybe just pick your favorite one because there's so many.
Those benefits of ApeironNFT. Well, a lot of NFT projects don't have game. They build on promises that they are not sure when they can fulfill. So the essence of a Ponzi is that they are actually selling stuff that's not getting fulfilled, or the product is never going to come. But Aperon has quite a lead in terms of development time compared to others. And our game demo will show you that we actually do have something you can touch and play on next month. And the team and the size and everything Aperon has to offer is actually there. We will be continually trying to improve Aperon, to build Aperon compared to others. All others will too, but we have a lot of significant, well, members that's actually developers. If you compare the ratio of developers to artists in Aperon's original 30 members, over 20 of them are game devs, system, front-end, back-end developers, technical artists. We actually have to onboard more concept artists in the late end to fulfill the demand for the breeding. But we have a lot of game devs, and you will see other games, a casual game pretty early as well. That's really what's different.
That's awesome. I think I'm gonna give you the cash sound for that one. I'm gonna recognize these questions, but I think we've already answered this. What are the upcoming developments? That's roadmap questions that we've kind of already asked. And then the UI UX, you've already said that there are about 30 developers on this kind of thing, and your community and your mods are always asking it. I'm gonna wrap up with this question, guys. Thank you so much. Frank, thank you so much for joining us. We have an hour of liquid fire here of content for Aperon. I'm going to finish off with a high level. Let's fly in the sky right now. Can you share your opinion about DeFi and NFT and what makes your NFT rates and special? We've already talked about what makes it special. Let's zoom out here, Frank. Can you just give us what is your opinion on DeFi's and NFTs and the future of NFT gaming?
I think, well, on DeFi's, I'm actually really interested myself because I have no answer to that. I've been in so many DeFi Ponzi game theory stuff from the OHM Fox and the Tomb Fox. It's fun, it's very human, and it's very game-like. But honestly, never thought they would last long. And but in the next DeFi group of DeFi projects, especially with the warnings from Luna and these OHM Fox, we think the new ones can actually really should um, work on the decentralized concept first. But it would always be plagued by speculators. This one I have still have would love to see what's happening, but I would always be willing to stay in this space because the amount I was skeptical in the beginning, but after meeting all the founders, after meeting more and more people each day in crypto, the stories, the passions. There are people here who truly are genius. I have been in the management consulting. I have been in private equity. I've seen leaders in giant conglomerates and governments across the world, but they are really, truly ingenious people here who are really passionate to build something truly different, and they will make a huge difference. And I'm bullish on a lot of them as well. As for the NFTs, well, I think player ownership and digital ownership as asset ownership is actually the answer with which a lot of piracy problems, secondhand sales market problems can be solved. We just have to wade through the waves of speculators and scammers that populate the market right now. But the true potential of NFT is there. Of all the fund, not just the passionate and ingenious investors, I actually talked to all AAA publishers and developers, and they are truly interested in NFTs because, well, on a practical level, NFTs solve a big problem for them: secondhand sales and markets. Back when you purchase games, there's actually a huge secondhand sale market, and the developers never get anything from them. And NFT solves that. And on the other hand, from a merchandise and customer Aperon perspective, the development, the MOQ of products can be solved by NFTs by having 3D models of designs out there to gauge the response and reception before they produce them. This actually saves huge amounts of costs and also generate them revenue. So that's it. The power of NFTs is there. It's just we have to really avoid the scammy ones or the ones that don't have any real world applications or entertainment value first.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think right now, blockchain and NFTs, it solves a lot of problems, especially like you said, secondhand and or a secondary marketplace and all that stuff. We have the makings of like what we don't know what we could build in the future, and that's why we're all here. We're what we want to see the genius at work in Aperon. Check out the links down in the description below. Check out Frank and all of the channels. We'll be making sure that you guys have all those links. Our Telegram channel. If there's the questions are flying in still. We just simply don't have the time. Be sure to check out our games Telegram channel or their Discord if you want to ask these questions and get to the bottom of your get the answers to your questions. Frank, thank you so much for a just impact filled, just packed into with information about Aperon. We're excited to see you guys launch this year and then start playing it, this year and early next year.
Thank you, Aaron, and look forward to streaming that video with you in 2 months' time, I guess.
Oh, dude, you're kidding me? I'm excited for this game, dude. You're gonna see me creating a cowboy constellation. So it's gonna happen. Thanks so much, and we will see you in the next stream. Thanks, gang.